I just love being out on the road teaching in workshops all over, but I need my favorite tools with me. So for today's tutorial, I've created this awesome little journal that actually opens up and will sit in our workspace just like this. So we have everything we need right with us. Let's get started. This little toolkit journal is awesome, but today's tutorial, I'm going to walk you through the basics of how to do it. I want you to feel free to customize the different sizes for your different tools. So I'm going to keep the measurements basically just on the yardage that we need. And speaking of which, I'm using the James Thompson canvas duck. It's wonderful, wonderful heavyweight fabric, but it comes in great colors as well. So I've used the black. You can use whatever color you like. And with that James Thompson, you need a 1/2 yard. And then from the 1/2 yard, we're going to make a couple of basic cuts to get started. I want to take this long strip that started as 60 inches wide and cut it down to, this is going to be 9 3/8. That way it works with all of our measurements. So I'm going to have that nice long rectangle made like that. I'm also going to need to make 2 pockets for today's project, and those are going to be also the 9 3/8 wide by 5.5 inches tall. 2 of those, right? And I'd also like you to set aside a 4-inch by at least 22 inches long strip that we can make for our tie that goes around the journal when we're all finished. Now we're going to come back to constructing it, but we need to build a base, a framework, and we're going to use Timtex for that. Now Timtex is a wonderful heavy stabilizer, and for that what I want you to do is I want you to make 2 pieces like this, and these are going to be 15 inches long by 8.5 inches across there, and one of the pieces stays entirely as a rectangle. The other pieces we're going to go ahead and cut down, and we're going to make a 8.5 by 6.5 inch piece, and we're actually going to make 2 of those. And then I'm also going to leave an 8.5 by 1.5 inch piece, and these are going to be positioned in here to build a secondary portion, but I need to make kind of a hinge in our framework. So once these are located, just like you see them, stitch around all of the edges so that when you're all finished, it looks like this. And you can see that this gap in here allows me to take and fold that in nice, but I have a nice rigid base for that journal, okay? This will become the right side of this. Once it's all stitched around, you set it aside, and we're gonna start building up that frame. Okay, so what I want you to do is take the canvas that you have, and first of all, we need to finish off some of our raw edges. So on both ends, I'm going to make a double fold and a top stitch basically, and that's very easy to do. You're just going to fold it once over like this and a second time like this. And I actually just kind of finger crease it to help as I head over to the sewing machine. Now today I'm using cotton thread, and I'm using lime green because I think it looks terrific and it's fun. Polyester thread would certainly work for this because it's a tool, a functioning piece of hardware. As well as if you're not the best at top stitching, maybe you want to match your threads. I did this so you can see the stitching. And right now I've got my edge guide and just basically a 1/4 inch seam allowance as I'm folding that double fold over to catch the raw edge. And this actually adds character and now becomes the right side of my journal. So I want you to make sure that you do that on both sides. So I've got it on both sides here, right? And now this becomes the right side of the journal. And I'm going to fold this in half so we can start to prepare for our pockets. And then I did the same thing to the pockets. And also I want this on the right side or the fold. It makes it easier to get inside. And we're going to set one of our pockets to go ahead and work up here this way with the opening. Excuse me, I did that wrong. Okay, make sure you paid attention. We're gonna have our raw edge down here at the fold, and the other one will have the raw edge down here at the opening. Now to put these in place, what I want you to do is right below the fold, we're gonna go right sides together, but in the opposite direction. So now that we have it positioned, and you probably saw that I've already stitched the Velcro in place on that one. I'm just gonna flop this open. I'm going to bring it over to the machine, and even with that edge guide in place, I can just stitch right up and over. Okay, so we're going to do that pocket there, and just before you go too far, confirm you've got it correct, so you just fold it up just like that, okay? And then the other side, I want the same, so I want my right sides to finish with that opening there. So I'm going to take this and flop it this way. Now this time, because I've got that double fold, I'm just going to rotate my edge guide out of the way, because what I want to do is I want to be able to get about a 1/4 inch seam allowance on the pocket, but I can feel the edge of the presser foot up against that double fold. I can feel it right up here, up against that double fold of that seam allowance I created. So that's going to help me get a nice straight line. And the edges of the pockets will be secured in the side seams of the journal itself. So we don't have to worry about that at all. But we do want to put our channels in next. Okay, so let me get this out of here and I'll be right back to show you how to put those channels in. I wanted you to be able to see some of the channels I'm building into the pocket, and I wanted you to see how the Velcro works. So I jumped a little ahead of us, right? So here's that Velcro, and it was stitched just on the outside of the pocket first so that I don't sew the pocket closed while installing it. One of the pockets, and again, I've got a wonderful printout here available for us, and this printout shows you the math and the numbers in which I used in my kit, and I want you to be able to customize it to fit the tools you want to put in there. But like one of these nice pockets here, I left wide so I could take a piece of like Bosal foam and slide that in, and that'll fit in that pocket down there. And you can see it even makes for a great little pin cushion, a place to stick your safety pins as well. So this is what I mean. I want you to custom fit your pockets the way you want them and figure out, oh, where am I going to put which tool as you go along, and then you continue to create those columns that make the tools. So again, I've top stitched this, or I should say stitched it down with the right sides together so I can fold this pocket back up from the bottom. Now the trick to making those channels for the pockets is always starting down at the bottom edge. So I want you to be down here where this seam allowance is, and even though the edge seams are going to get caught when we put the bag together or the journal together, I'm still stitching it now from the bottom up to secure everything. And I'm making a couple of back stitches at the top because that's where we put so much pressure on the pockets as we slide our tools in and out. So one back stitch at the bottom, and up I go. And I'm going to make 2 at the top and cut threads. And for an average 1.5 inches to 2 inches apart in these columns is plenty. And of course, you could use a ruler, or you could do what I'm doing, which is just eyeballing it. So we've got a few more to put in here. So I finished sewing in all of the columns that I wanted to fit in my tools, the size I have them, right? And now it's time to top stitch. Now, once we start to close this up, you're not going to be able to create any more pockets. So make sure you have it the way you want it. And now we're going to just lay this right sides together with those finished edges down here. And we're going to start again at this top corner sewing downward on both sides. We're not going to do the folded edge, we're just doing the sides. And I'm in again about my 1/4 inch seam allowance. Let's make sure you secure that edge really good. And now we're going to go ahead and flip it and do the other side. But again, starting at that top corner and coming all the way down. All right, and again, a good secure down there. Now I like to take my top corners and snip them out if I can, like yay, just to help it turn. Down here is going to be pretty bulky, so I don't think I'm going to try that with my little scissor. And then I just reach in, I turn it out, and here's a trick I really like. I'll take a smaller than the project ruler, and I can use this to come in here and poke at those corners really nice, like that, and like that. Because there's a little bit of bulk, and that's the benefit of this wonderful canvas that we have from James Thompson, is it's nice and sturdy but easy to sew. You may want to press it if you need, but at this point we're going to go ahead and slide in our framework. So this is the upside or the right sides of the bag. This is the right side where the hinge is. This is going to sit in here like this. So you might need to curl it a little bit. Do not make a heavy crease, because those heavy creases can kind of stay in your Timtex. And as you slide this in, I found that it was kind of easiest. I'm now grabbing the top edge of the Timtex, and if I can do this without getting my bulky watch caught on there, you can see I'm getting in my pretty rigid stance. Now, again, if you made your framework for your Timtex and for some reason your seam allowance got a little thick and your Timtex doesn't fit perfect, of course you can just come in and trim it down. But we really want this tight and secure as we make it. Oh, that's looking really, really good. Now, what we're gonna do once we get this completely in here and secured is we're gonna make that tie or the strapping, and we need to make that so we can actually go ahead and finish it right down here in this top edge. Now I've got another one that's all but done I'd like to show you. So this is where we're heading with the finished project, but I want to talk you through how to make that strap real quick, okay? Now the Velcro is going to be a little bit dependent upon what size tools you're putting in there, but the strap itself, like I said, we need a 4-inch wide strip by about 22 inches long at least. I want you to press it kind of in fourths, so into half and then back into the center, but I also want you to take this edge down here and fold it up first. So then we can bring this over just like this. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna start on this bottom corner right here. And we're gonna do a single side top stitch for some character, especially if you're using a decorative thread. So I'm coming around here and I'm gonna pivot at that corner. And then we're gonna roll this all the way up. We actually install the rest of the Velcro pieces after it's in place so we can get it just where we want it. And now what I do to finish off the journal is I start with the raw edges down here. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I've tucked up the Timtex just enough that I can secure it along there. And I'm also going to take that raw edge and I'm going to slide it right in here, and I'm going to go over to the machine and I'm going to secure that, and then I'm going to go up and all the way around the bag. So let's do this for our last little step for today. Now this could be a little thick. This is one of the places where I don't want you to be pushing or pulling real hard on your bag because I don't want you to snap your needle. Just let your machine do the work. And then once you get a few stitches in and you realize it's going awesome, your tail or your tie might be floating a little bit, so come in here and get it centered. Beautiful. And we're just gonna keep on stitching, just like Dory, keep on stitching. And there we go. So at this point, we just rotate. Let's get that thread tail out of the way so we can corner here. And we're just gonna go ahead and keep on going. Oh, wonderful. Okay, now I have finished the top stitching all the way around the outside of the journal, but what we still need to do is I'm gonna have you go back in and finish out the top stitching along there. And I don't know if you can tell, but I actually just kind of score it with my fingernail a little bit, and then I'm gonna stitch those lines in. I started to tell you that the easiest way now to figure out how to put your strap Velcro parts on, fill your tools in, close your journal up, and then make your Velcro come around, and what you're gonna have is one piece here and another piece on the tail to close like that. And then if you look closely at the real finished sample here, then this thing's been on the road for a while. I wanna make sure I duty tested it right. So once it closes, you can see here, it goes around, and there's that first piece of Velcro, like I said. So one on the end, one kind of in the middle, and I made it longer so I can put extra tools in if I need. And then this other little piece here is the part that catches when it's open like this. So then that comes around and that piece catches like that. And it sits just perfectly while you're sitting very nicely in your workshops as all good students would. So what we need from you in today's comments is I want to know, if I was in your area teaching, which workshop would you like it to be? And I'll catch you next time right here at Man Sewing.